Hi, Holly here. So, today I wanted to talk about communication, what some of the barriers are, how do you measure it, how do you know when successful communication has happened, how do you make sure that everyone is communicating properly, and whose fault is it when it's not really happening the way it's supposed to, or if things are getting overlooked or left behind. So, one of the big barriers to communication that I've been a part of or that I've seen just in my short time as an administrator is that there's not one person that's designated or dedicated to doing a specific task. And then there's nobody to hold accountable for things not happening. So, in the world of nursing homes, we have different department heads. Everybody's responsible for certain functions of the nursing home. In those specific functions of a nursing home, there's still other things that need to happen. We need to have ambassadors for rooms. We need to make sure that certain things are happening, certain committees. We need to make sure that lots of policies and procedures are followed up with a meeting that goes over specific numbers to make sure that we know what our outcomes are or are going to be. So, one of the biggest barriers to that is not communicating properly or effectively. So, we all know nursing home world full of meetings. There's a morning meeting, there's QAPI meetings, there's meetings throughout the day, there's meetings to update for COVID. There's usually a stand down meeting at the end of the day to follow things up or a wrap up. I think that's probably one of the best things that you can do in communication is making sure things come back around full circle. So when you are having a meeting and there's either duties being delegated or somebody's giving you direction as to what their plan is for the day, your managers are letting you know, this and this and this is going to happen throughout the day today. And then when you follow up at the end of the day to say, hey, did all of those things happen? What were any problems that you encountered? If it was a big issue, what's the plan to fix it for maybe tomorrow or maybe next week? So the follow up and the follow through is the biggest barrier that I've seen since I've been in a nursing home world. Biggest things that are going to get in your way of completing a task and doing it effectively and efficiently. So I've also been a part of communication where people who are very smart and who know what they're talking about will discuss what's going on with the immediate group in front of them and say, this is what I want done. These are the things that I need to happen per COVID rules and regulation or per current policy. This is what we need to do. And I need people to be held accountable and I need to make sure that they're doing it. I need education in place. So there's a plan. We know what needs to happen. And then, okay, let's go get these things done and make sure that it happens. But maybe we forgot to designate or delegate who specifically will handle that task. So if you're saying there's new COVID education that's out, we need everybody in the building to be, up to date. They need to be proficient. They need to be educated on it. So who do we put in charge of doing that? Sometimes we overlook who that delegated person or authority is. So we don't always have somebody that's responsible or reliable. We don't always have somebody that's responsible set over a task. That way we know who to go back to make sure it's been followed up correctly, effectively, efficiently, however you want to look at it. So we need to make sure that when we're putting out information that it's everybody involved knows about the information. Getting it out to those specific people, I think that's very important, and I think that's a key piece of communication is making sure that everybody knows these things. If we're changing the way something specifically is done in the building, we need to make sure that everybody knows that. If it's as simple as you as the administrator or you as the executive director telling each department head that this is what you want done, and then letting those department heads know that they are responsible for ensuring that everybody in their department is aware of the new policy, procedure, or rule, or is aware of the new effective guideline, then we know that we could check back with them later. So whether we want to see sign-in sheets, or we want to see education was done, or we just want the, verbal head nod that yes, things were taken care of, then at least we know. So if your stand down meeting at the end of the day is to follow up with a, hey, dietary manager, tell me about, did you educate everybody in your department on X, Y, and Z? A yes or no. If not a yes and you do get a no and they say, no, I wasn't able to get a hold of so-and-so, they're off for the next 2 weeks, they're on vacation. Well, we need to make sure that we let them know right away somehow if it's possible. If not, that their first day back into the building, they know what those new rules or set of rules are. There has to be follow up with that. So, if me as the administrator, if I know that two people in dietary were off work, they didn't get that information, that when are they coming back to work? Oh, somebody comes back next Tuesday and then that other person comes back next Thursday. I need to make sure that I'm keeping track of that to follow up with it to make sure that those two people did get that proper education or whatever it is. So us as administrators, we should be that, final catch all of making sure that that communication process happened thoroughly, effectively, and efficiently to make sure that when it comes down to it, we know. So we can also hold the department heads, whoever it is, accountable to a certain extent. It just depends on what you're talking about and how your company runs things. But big picture is communication, those little things that get overlooked where we don't follow up and follow through at the end. That's what I've seen some of the bigger problems are that I've been a part of or that I've witnessed. How do we know that we got that message across successfully? Usually it's in people understanding, educations are done, or policies change and things happen along the lines of where it can be measured by either checking a box or somebody signing off on it, and then we see that things are changing. Huge part of nursing home world is re-education and making sure that if something is changed, everyone's notified of it, and that if maybe a new employee starts or somebody comes back from a vacation that we didn't get to talk to about the new policy, procedure, whatever was communicated, that we follow up with them and make sure that they're caught up to speed when they do get back to work. Little things like that can get overlooked. To be able to successfully measure it, you'll have to know who and who has not had that education, been caught up to speed, or whatever the case may be. If we notice that there are hiccups, maybe let's say your maintenance department has 15 workers, which no nursing homes really have budgets for that, but if they do, we have 15 people in the maintenance department, and an education was put out that all the locks were changed in the building and now they require one single master key, and that one single master key has to be acquired by them signing an education for it. Well, if we've had some people off and they didn't get that memo or they didn't get that education and all the locks in the building were changed to one single key that they don't have yet, it's going to be a problem when they go to do their job, or if they go to get into a specific area and they can't get in there. Situation like that, super hypothetical. No, it'll never happen. We all are aware of that. But just to use as a kind of an outlandish example of communication is key in that aspect of we need to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Unnecessary frustration at that. You've got workers out there that are trying to get out and do their jobs and they can't because they don't even hold the single key that will get them in all the doors. So that's another way to measure it in that aspect. Another way to measure it is just in the kind of the day that you've had. We all have, since COVID has started especially, well, we've all showed up to work and it's been chaos from the time we've hit that front door, been screened in to the time we do our temperature and leave when we at the end of the day. We all have had those crazy hectic days where you just can't even wrap your brain around the things that have happened because it's all happened so quickly. Days like that, it's really easy to lose track of communication, what's happened throughout the day. So following up and following through, it's as simple as saying, has everybody checked this box? Sure, everybody has. Great, move on to the next task. But sometimes it's a little bit more follow up and follow through than just saying, has everybody completed it? Has everybody done it? So in the nursing home world, we all know that it's a kind of a show and tell type thing. You have to show that you know it, and then you have to be able to talk about it to anybody else that comes in. One of the biggest concerns in the nursing home world is when state comes in the building, whether it's a complaint survey or an annual survey, that everybody knows what to say and they know how to say it. Not that it's scripted and not that they're just talking about things that they don't agree with or don't follow, but we all know that you need to be confident in what you're saying, especially if you're being graded on a specific thing. Exactly what those state surveys are is they're grading you based off of your performance throughout the year. So we want to make sure that everybody understands and they can walk the walk and talk the talk and say the things that they're supposed to effectively, communicate properly, And I know that some people may disagree with me on this piece of it, but it's always good to make sure that all of your workers know how to talk to state when they come in the building, or how to talk to any governing body when they come in the building. That way they know that they're giving them the most up-to-date and accurate information. It's much easier if you function like every day is going to be your Super Bowl every day, if state's going to walk in the door every day. It's best practice to function and work as if every day you're trying to impress people when they walk in the building. So thanks for hanging out and listening. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and you can leave a comment, or you can contact me at the email address below. And I'm always open to and building new relationships. So go ahead and contact me, and thanks a lot.